Hello, 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 everybody. How's everybody doing? Happy Talk About It Thursday. Is everybody's Thursday off to a good start? We're getting near the weekend. So we got a little cool, brisk air here today. But happy Talk About It Thursday, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well this Thursday, early Thursday afternoon. I am April from All for HR Business Solutions, if you don't know who I am. And I'm coming to you today with our All for HR Biz View. So I'm here, but we kind of changing it up. And so we are today, with this month, excuse me, first of all, before I get ahead of myself, right? Excuse me, this lingering cold here. If you don't know who I am, I'm April Halliburton of All for HR Business Solutions, okay? And I am a small and mid-sized business, HR business partner and consultant. And I help small and mid-sized business owners across the country to alleviate their HR woes. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And so today I'm here dropping in some tips for you guys. This month, all month I've been sharing tips and strategies for dealing with difficult employees. Give me a show of hands. Who has dealt with who's dealing with difficult employees now? You probably don't want to put your hand up though, right? But anyway, so I'm helping you deal with difficult employees this month because we can have a lot of issues in our business as business owners and HR professionals, right? And they can range from compliance issues, just on any number of issues. But that one or two employees that's always doing some kind of causing some kind of ruckus within the culture, right? Woo. Yes, yes, yes. You know what I'm talking about. So we've been sharing tips. So if you haven't had a chance to go over follow me on Instagram at All for HR. Also, my Facebook page also has the recordings there. And make sure all of these phones are up. Okay. And so what we're doing today is we're talking about what happens there if we are implementing a policy. Okay. And so a lot of people, employers or HR professionals figure, okay, this has happened. We need a policy, right? We need a policy on this, right? And so that policy can range from any number of things, right? And so that policy could be updating the dress code, right? Because I'm being frank with you here, okay? So you have some employees that can't come in, and you have a dress code. It may be kind of casual, right? Right. And so I'm gonna give you a prime example. Okay, a really good example. So I worked in a law firm. This was years ago. And when I worked in this law firm, we had a young lady come in. She was one of the legal secretaries that came in. And we used to have Freedom Friday was stuck in my head. A casual day. Casual day was Fridays. Okay, this is during the summer. So we would have casual days during the summer. So one day this young lady comes in, um, and you know, casual day was business casual. But you could wear, sometimes we would do jeans day, so you could wear jeans. Okay. So this one young lady came in and she um I can't remember if she had on jeans or not. But she had on a crop top. You know what a crop top is? You know, the short shirts? Because she had just gotten her belly button pierced and nothing could touch it. So, with it being casual day, let me know. Would you have made her go home and change clothes? What do you think? You know, casual day is casual day, but some things are unacceptable. Okay, especially you're in a law firm, right? So, when these things, sometimes these policies happen, you want to have an employee handbook anyway, updated yearly, annually, right? But sometimes things come and you have to change policies. You may have to implement a new policy during the day. We all remember what it was like during the pandemic, right? Not that it's officially over, but the pandemic, right in the heart of it, when, policies were being implemented and changed daily. Who remembers that nightmare, right? So when you implement a new policy, there's a way to do so. So what happens if you do so, though? You implement a new policy and your employees freak out. What happens? Okay. What happens when employees are you're getting pushback, right? What happens when you're getting pushback from a new policy? So remember that first of all, it's about communication and clarity and making your employees feel heard. Okay. And so you have to allow them to express their thoughts, even though how do you put it? Even though the employees, they have to feel heard. So you can't have the notion that this is the policy, this is what we're implementing, I don't want to hear anything about it. Okay, you have to first acknowledge their concerns. That's very important. Okay, that's the number one way when you implement a new policy is you have to hear those concerns. Face it, there's always going to be different situations where you may get pushback from an employee or employees. So the first thing to do is to acknowledge there are concerns and communicate about it early. Do not let those concerns fester. Okay. So employees may panic when they feel blindsided by a new policy. They want to know the why behind the policy. So before the rumors start, you want to communicate early. That's why there are steps that we're going to talk about in a little bit to implementing a new policy, either implementing a new policy or updating or changing a policy. Okay. So you want to hold a team meeting or send out a clear, concise email. They need to know why. Okay, that's the number one way that you're going to get the buy-in. okay, from the employees is what is the purpose of it? Why are you implementing this purpose? Is it for benefits? Has something happened that's impacted the team? Why is this necessary? So acknowledge their concerns. All right, that's the first thing and communicate early. So you don't want to allow things to fester. You don't want rumors to fester. You want to address it early. If you allow it to fester, then employees think you're running scared or that you're hiding something. Okay. And then number 2 of 5 ways. Okay, 5 ways to handle a new policy when your employees freak out. Okay, so number 2 is encourage that open dialogue. Remember, communication is key. Communication is very important. What you don't want to do is close your door and act like no one is upset or questions aren't being asked or there are concerns. Okay, so let them voice their concerns. You can hold a meeting, right? A team meeting, and host a question and answers, and so you can hear their concerns, right? And create an anonymous feedback channel. Okay, so the kind of suggestion box, so that your employees are encouraged to communicate. Communication is everything in a business among your staff. Everything. Okay, while you can't share 100% of what is going on in the business, what you don't want to do is share nothing and allow employees rumors and speculations and all of these things to circulate among the culture. Okay, because that will cause damage, and that kind of damage with rumors and speculations that are incorrect. Remember, people are dealing with a lot of things, and the first thing they're thinking, they may lose their job. It may not even have anything to do with that. But again, you don't want to allow rumors and speculations and things of that nature to fester, to keep just circulating. So have that open dialogue with your team, okay? And validate their feelings and reinforcing the necessity of the policy. That policy is needed for this reason. Okay? All right. So number 3 is make it about them. What's in it for them with the implementation of this new policy or this updating a current policy, right? Let the employees know that you care about how this policy is impacting them and their daily work. Okay, you want to frame it so that it highlights, right, how it's going to benefit them. Again, whether it's benefits, whether it's oh goodness, it could be any number of things, but how it's going to impact them, whether it is the new benefits or whether it is a new dress code. Okay, because you can imagine that someone showing up to work, right, with a crop top and a new belly piercing, that's disrupting the workplace, right? Not to mention, it's just unacceptable. Okay, so whatever that policy is, whether it's a new policy or whether you're updating a policy, you want to make sure, right, that your employees know the value, the reason for this the implementation of a new policy, or why one is being upgraded or altered, or however that looks. Okay, so make it about them. Number 4 is provide training and support for that new policy. If it requires that policy, that new policy requires behavioral changes or procedural changes, for the way they clock in. You may have a new policy. They may have used time clock. Now you're having them clock in on the computer. Okay, so provide that training and resources to make that transition easier for them, and give them forewarning. Don't just do it. Give them forewarning before the actual implementation, okay? And number 5, and probably the most important, is lead by example, okay? And reinforce positivity, the positive aspects of that new policy or the new update, okay? So most times, 9 times out of time, when leadership embraces the change, employees will follow suit. Okay, make sure your managers are in line and modeling the new policy as well. So you want to let your managers know ahead of time, because they're going to help with the buy-in. Okay, and they're going to help address any concerns or rumors or whatever may be happening that is not particularly producing the acceptance of this new policy that you expected. In any regards, that you can, by enforcing and the positivity of that new policy or the updating of that policy, the reason for and how it's going to benefit them. Again, this is about them, not about you. It is about your employees. Okay, so 5 ways to handle employees when implementing a new policy and your employees freak out. Number 1 is acknowledge concerns and communicate early. Do not allow rumors and speculations to fester. Okay. Number 2 is encourage open dialogue always. What you don't want to do is make it look like you're running scared or that you're hiding something. Okay. You want to be out in the open as to why this new policy or updated policy is warranted. Okay, why is it necessary and how it's going to benefit your new employees? Which take us to number 3. Make it about them. Okay, how is this new policy going to help them? All right. Number 4 is provide training and support. And give them a heads up. Don't just spring a new policy on them. Let them know in advance that we're implementing this new policy April 1st. Okay? Before you actually do it. And number 5, again, probably the most important, is lead by example and reinforce positivity. Okay? 9 times out of 10, when leadership embraces that change, that policy change, employees will follow suit. Okay, so these are the steps if you get pushback. If your employees freak out once they're not happy with this policy. So let's talk a little bit about how you should implement a new policy. Okay, even if you're updating a policy, how should you do so? Okay, number 1, I've said this a couple times. Give them a heads up. Don't just spring it on them before it's official. So before you roll out that policy, you want to let them know that the change is coming. Share why that policy is needed and how they're going to benefit from it. Right? Hey team, we're working on a new remote policy to make things more clear for everyone. All right. We'll share more details soon, but we want to let you know that it's coming. Okay. Don't spring it on. All right. And two, the second step is explain it in simple terms. Don't use a whole lot of jargon. Okay? Make it plain and simple, layman's terms. Keep it short and clear. All right? And then let them know what's changing, why this change is happening, why it's needed, how it will affect them in their jobs daily. Okay? When does it start? And what's implemented? What do your employees need to do next? Okay? And then three, let them ask questions. Encourage them to ask questions. Communication is key. Okay? You want to let them know that we are doing this for you and we want to hear your concerns. Okay? You want to put them at ease about the new policy or the update. All right? Provide training and resources where needed. If you're implementing a new software or a new procedure a new procedure, make sure they're trained. You give them the training, provide them the training to make this transition as easy as possible. How's that sound? Because you got to make it, you have to make it as easy for them as possible. Easy for them means easy for you. Okay? And we have to keep in mind that change isn't easy for everybody, right? So you want to make sure that you are providing whatever training and resources that your employees need to make this transition smooth. Okay? Make sure you are enforcing that policy consistently and following up with any feedback. Okay? Whatever feedback you're getting, you want to listen to it and adhere to it. Don't ignore the concerns of your employee. All right? So, and you want to get your employees, your managers on board first. Absolutely. You got to get those employees, the managers on first. Okay. I will drop a template for announcing a new policy. I'm going to drop that link for you. I'm cold. Okay. So I'm going to drop that down in the thing for you. Also, April 2nd, we have a free webinar, which is Progressive Discipline Done Right. We're going to talk about how to do progressive discipline, documentation, and progressive discipline issues. Okay, that's a free webinar on April 2nd at 10:30. I will drop the link. I'd love for you to attend. Okay, this was one of our most popular webinars. Okay, so again, we're going to talk about the steps for progressive discipline, what the conversations should look like when you are conducting progressive discipline, what to do if there's pushback from progressive discipline. Okay, and we're going to talk about documentation. Document and document some more. All righty, so we're going to talk about that as well, and we're going to talk about compliance issues, how the lack of progressive discipline can get you in trouble. Okay, so that's what we have. Tomorrow's Freedom Friday. I want you to drop your Freedom Friday question below. I answer your Freedom Friday question, you get a gift, and I'll answer it live in the morning. So all you got to do is drop your HR question and hashtag Freedom Friday HR question, and I'll answer it live tomorrow morning. Okay, so that's what we have today on our show. Again, we're revamping the show, so we're doing some things a little different. So I want you to follow along and join us on Thursdays. Talk about it Thursday. We're going to change the format a little bit, and we're also going to change the schedule a little bit. So stay tuned for that. You'll learn a little bit about that more here in about a day or so. Okay, so happy Talk About It Thursday, everybody. Don't forget that business can be like a circus, so don't let HR be the elephant in the room. Okay. Until tomorrow morning for our Freedom Friday HR question again, don't forget to drop it below. And I'm going to drop some links down here. Be safe and be kind. I'll check you guys out tomorrow. Have a wonderful Talk About It Thursday, everyone.